Yes, guys, today we're going to have a really special video we're going to be talking through, as I know this kind of type of content where we break down clients' businesses and how they grow, you guys find really helpful. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to talk you through exactly how we took one of my clients who did have a bit of a foundation already with in-person coaching and also online, was making okay money, nothing kind of crazy, and we took him to be able to add 5k per month fully online to his business inside 90 days. I'm going to talk you through the entire framework, like step by step how we did it, what we implemented, why it's so important, so you can basically copy those principles and be able to install them into your business to be able to add around £5,000 inside your business over the next 3 to 6 months as well. So let's dive into it. So one of my clients, Daniel Gomez, just to summarize, one of my clients, Daniel Gomez, grew his business and scaled from making around £3,000 with a mix of in-person kind of one-to-one training clients to scale and add an extra £5,000 to his business, and that £5,000 was all from just online coaching. So in this video, I'm going to basically break down the entire strategy breakdown, so you can basically copy it to be able to add something similar to your business. Just a disclaimer as well before we dive into this video today and the processes and systems and frameworks will remove a ton of guesswork inside your business. So if you're stuck right now anywhere between 2, 3, 4k per month in your business while you're doing some coaching on a gym floor, you have a job, or you're just doing online coaching, this is going to be the fastest and simplest way to be able to grow to your first 7 to 8k per month fully online in your business. Is by far the clearest and the simplest path I personally know to growing and scaling, after quite literally helping hundreds of coaches build, start, grow their business fully online from a fitness perspective, right? So if there's anything you can take away from this video, is that this is super simple, but you just need to be able to implement it and replicate it. So don't get distracted and just follow this path to get results. So the first thing Daniel here, and here's Daniel on the gym floor. The first thing that we want to keep in mind with Daniel in terms of where he was at and what we did is he was effectively an online coach helping men and helping them build their dream physiques. His starting point was this. He had a mix of gym floor clients in the gym where he was coaching them, like they were paying him for the hour. He was there training them, adjusting their cue and making sure they were doing things correctly. And he also had some clients online. The mix of the two things meant he was making anywhere between that £3,000 per month in his fitness business. Over the course of the 6 months we worked together, we installed 4 phases in his business, and basically that allowed him to add an extra £5,000 to his business and take it to around 8k per month, which was fully online at this point. The 4 phases were the following. The first phase was attract. So we needed to have a really clear process and system from Daniel's content, which was basically allowing him to pull the right leads in and people seeing his content and following him consistently. Once he was able to do that, it was much easier than to have a pool of people that you can sell to. So that was the first phase. The second thing, once we pull people in, is basically be able to capture them and get them to message him, asking for coaching, asking for more information about how things work, and basically take that follower, capture their attention and capture them into a DM conversation, a one-to-one conversation where they're reaching out, asking for more information about his coaching. That's the second phase. The third phase is the conversion phase. Right now, what was happening in Daniel's business is he was having new followers coming in consistently because we nailed his content. People were in his DMs now inquiring, replying to stories, all of these things. Now the biggest thing was being able to take that traffic and take those leads and eyeballs and turn them into high paying clients for his online fitness offer. That's the third phase. And in the fourth phase of all of this is to basically, once you have clients coming in from this, is be able to multiply these clients by creating really good content, talking about their story, how they get results, how everything works, and take one client that pays you and take that one client to refer more people in and multiply it to get 2, 3, 4 clients from every client you get. This is basically how your business can grow unlimited and infinitely. So those are the 4 phases we worked with Daniel. And in this video, because it's going to be an absolute gem, I'm going to share the exact 4 phases in terms of step by step what we did to do that, so you can basically replicate it in your business. One thing I would recommend is try not to focus on all of these phases at once. Look at the kind of areas you feel like you're lacking most at the moment. Is it traffic? Is it converting people and getting more calls coming in? Is it more sales and you have lots of calls being booked but no one's closing? Whatever the big problem is inside your business, just focus on identifying that one issue and just solving that. This is why the one-to-one work we do with clients is so insanely valuable, because clients come to me, we review their biggest weakness in their business, like what's actually not working, and we just focus on fixing that one thing. When you fix that one bottleneck and one leak, everything can quite literally go exponentially. But the easiest way to do that is to first identify the issue and you can solve it, right? So let's dive into it. The first phase we needed to build for Daniel in this case was actually have the audience magnet in place, which is our unique process. And that unique process basically means once we have the audience magnet in place, we want your content to basically act like a magnet which pulls the right people in and pulls the people you want to work with to your page. The easiest way to do that is to quite literally create highly converting and highly impactful content for this specific type of person, content that's going to land on the Explore page, go viral, and pull the right people in, not just to view the content or like it, but actually follow the page. And if you have a look at Daniel's content, like, this was nailed because he's now having around 17,000 followers. That's literally plenty of people there that would be the right fit for his coaching program. The first thing we do with any new client is we audit down the exact specifics of what's your unique story, right? Who do you actually want to work with? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And that's the kind of stuff you really need to go and hone in on your content, because the reality is rather simple. There's so many people creating content nowadays, more than ever. If you're trying to compete by creating the same content as everyone else, if you're trying to be doing the same calorie swaps and you're not having any personality to your content and you're just doing what everyone else is doing, the truth is rather simple. You're just going to blend in, people are going to ignore you, and you're never going to get new followers. So one of the biggest things you want to do when you're starting out is understand what's your competitive advantage. Who are you as a person? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And how can you get more of that across in your social media? When you do that, you become a one of one. And when you're a unique person on social media, you're literally going to pull people in, coming in and following your page, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing we want to look at is actually having a weekly plan and strategy in place. What kind of content are you posting to grow your page? What kind of content are you posting to get people from your page following to actually message you and actually get people on sales calls? There's different content, different posts for different things. One of the biggest things you want to look at on this part here is having regular content on your plan and on your strategy, which is quite literally driving your following up and getting more people to follow you. There's so many people teaching kind of content, marketing, sales that have never built a big personal brand themselves. So it's absolutely ludicrous to think they can actually show you how to get more followers, how to get more engagement, how to get more views, which would come in and follow the page. So this is why this is so crucial here. What we want to do is look at creating content which is literally going to drive your followers up. The 3 types of content you want to look at, and 3 core principles and core 3 things that effectively drive followers up, is just emotion, right? People on Instagram typically want one of these 3 things. They either want to improve their health, their wealth, or their relationships. If you hone in on just one core focus and you create really polarizing and grabbing content on just one of those 3 things, and you make that niche your own, that space your own, it's impossible you're not going to grow. One thing that works really well for this as well is just using negative hooks, and hooks that stop people from scrolling and people that are going to then watch the rest of the content. This is so powerful when it comes to getting more people following the page, right? So This is why if your content isn't quite getting more followers, isn't quite getting enough engagement at the moment, one of the very best things you can look at is how strong are the hooks of your videos. Are the hooks getting people to stop and watch the rest of it? If in the first 3 to 5 seconds you look disheveled, you look like you have no idea what you're talking about, and even worse, you start the first 5 seconds of your videos by you introducing yourselves, you're literally asking to get ignored on social media. So this is why it's so crucial you make the first 3-5 seconds of the video super direct, super to the point, and you get people to know exactly what the rest of the video is, what you do, how you do it, and why they should watch the rest of it. If you don't do that and you don't obsess about fixing this one thing at the beginning, you're literally going to get ghosted and you're not going to get any followers and you're not going to grow, right? So this is absolutely crucial here. That's the first thing. The second thing we want to look at from a content perspective and a positioning perspective is having regular authority bits of content. What are the content that's going to get you portrayed as the expert on your personal brand and about what you do? Daniel is an amazing example of this because his offer in terms of what he does is super aligned to the people he wants to help. So his offer, which we'll go into it later, but his offer is really clear. His offer is simple. He's helping men achieve their dream physiques and improve their confidence and mindset. People land on a page, typically men, they see the physique that is like miles ahead and levels ahead of where they want to be, and automatically he becomes that authority figure. So one of the very, very best things here you can look at is who are you currently an authority to, and how can you demonstrate that really clearly on your social media. There has to be certain people that people will look at you and be like, this guy's doing what I want to do. He has my authority and he has my interest, and he has my expertise. When you do that, it's so easy for them people to actually tune in and watch the rest of the content. One big mistake people make, and coaches make in particular, is they're not super clear on this, or even worse, they're not really an authority to the people they want to work with. And I see this a lot. Like, it doesn't always work very well when you have young guys wanting to work with hormonal women in their 50s to help them lose weight. Why? Because women will see that content 9 times out of 10 and they'll think, I don't really know why this guy's going to be a good fit to help me. It's the exact same reason why most copywriters, most setters, most video editors that message you on Instagram and message me and you, most likely, you probably ignore because they don't have the authority. They say they'll get you more views, they'll get you more sales, they'll get you more leads. Then you click on their profile and you see they haven't got any of these things. You're likely not going to kind of listen to the rest of the content because it's irrelevant. It doesn't really breed high authority. So that would be the biggest thing here, and that's such a simple one to fix as well, right? One thing you can do after this video, which would be extremely valuable, is to go through your social media and go through the first impressions your Instagram leaves on people and ask yourself honestly, are the first impressions people leave, are they leaving those, are they thinking, does my content portray high authority and high trust? Will they look at me and think, this guy is an expert in that one field, and is that going to help me move forward? If you haven't got that in place, it's almost physically impossible for them to trust you to pay £1,000, £2,000 for a coaching program, right? This is why this is so crucial and important to fix. That's one of the things in terms of the content perspective. And the next point is that what we want to do is create content which gets people to view the profile. So create really good content that gets people to stop, view the profile, and then they'll literally see the rest of it, make sure it aligns, and they'll follow. Once they follow, we can then message them, have a conversation, and book them into a sales call. This is by far one of the easiest and fastest ways to get calls coming in and get clients into your business rather fast. So this is why I love this method and process so much, because for a lot of clients we work with, they need cash coming into business fast, and this is one of the fastest ways to do that. The last thing we want to keep in mind is this entire process, right? It's 4 parts. The first thing we want to do is get traffic. Then we need to turn that traffic and those views into leads and qualified leads. Then we want to turn the leads into sales. Sales will multiply by getting more clients on the back end, right? So that's a basic summary of the first phase, which is the audience magnet strategy. Next thing we want to do, once we're having these followers coming in, we're having new people liking, commenting, viewing the stories. Once you nail this first phase, what's going to happen is your followers are going to blow up, your story views are going to blow up, your comments, your engagements are literally going to blow up. You're going to have so many more people viewing your profile. This is where the next part of phase comes in place. And if you're not nailing this first phase here, guys, like, it's going to be so much harder to do everything else. So you know the first phase is nailed once you see your followers coming up, your likes, your comments, your engagements coming up. But also, more importantly, they're going up, but they're going up with the exact people you want to work with. If that's happening, this phase here, you're doing correctly, right? The second phase, as I touched on at the beginning, is the lead engine phase. This phase here is all about turning these people coming into your profile and turning them into leads. And this is actually the next part. This is one of the mistakes people make as well, right? A lot of the time is they're quite literally posting content from a perspective of, I'm going to post all my content, I'm just going to get leads off the back of it. What we want to do instead, especially going into 2026, is the way content's consumed has drastically changed. How we want to consume content moving forward is much differently, and how we want to create content is rather different. We want to pull people in, really attention grabbing content, pull people in, get them to follow. Then they're going to watch your stories, they're going to watch your stories, your lead magnets. They're going to do all of these things, and that's going to take someone from a follower into a qualified lead and a qualified buyer. The way you want to do that is by actually measuring and tracking your conversations. This is one thing that so many people don't bother doing. For Daniel and for all our clients, we build out a messaging and the lead tracker process. Basically, this gives us a really clear understanding of exactly where every lead is in the pipeline, and we have several touch points we need to take people on before we ever book them onto a sales call. What this does is it makes it really easy to know who needs to be followed up with, who's close to booking a call, and who can be picked up. If you don't have this in place, the reality is one of our clients or someone else is going to be doing this, and they're going to take your leads and they're going to take your clients. So it's super important that you're actually following up with your leads and you have a lead tracker to convert them. The second thing then from that point is to have a daily checklist of the tracker, go through the leads in that pipeline and who's close to booking a call, and just have a conversation with them. So for Daniel, this was working really, really well because he was having followers coming in at really fast pace. He was having the right people coming in. They were really looking up to him in terms of his physique, in terms of his mindset, in terms of what he stands for. Then he was just dropping them a quick voice note, a quick message to the right people, and that was moving them over the line towards a coaching. Because a lot of the time, especially at the start, your followers might not even know you offer coaching. One of the easiest ways to solve that is to literally just drop them a message, have a conversation, handle any objections they may have, or cover any questions, and you'd be able to move people into calls super quickly from that point on. But a lot of time, coaches have this ego about messaging, or have this kind of concern about not knowing how to do it correctly or how to move people on, and that's ultimately one of the biggest issues which stops them from growing their business and booking enough calls. For our clients, we give them a step-by-step kind of flow in terms of how to take conversations from starting towards booking a call. And the content is so good that it literally does a lot of hard work for you, so you can literally make sales off the back of it as well. And then what you can do after this as well is use something like a messaging set or an AI system to let you know when you need to follow up with the leads to actually move them forward into a call. If someone wasn't interested 30 days ago or 60 days ago, what you want to do is go back in and re-offer them a new time with a new offer that's more relevant for them, like a different offer or the same offer positioned a slightly different way, or just dropping them a message, just checking in. And this is going to be massive because it's going to move people into calls much quicker, and it's going to pick up people that were not quite interested 30 days ago, or had like something coming up like a holiday, or had, this is a perfect example because right now it's September. If you had conversations with people in August and they didn't sign up because they had the kids off school, Like it'll make so much sense to just message them now and just literally have a conversation again and just see if they'd be interested in signing up now. And a lot of the time they would be, because they haven't got the kids from school, and it'll be easier to sign them up, right? So that's a simple thing here as well. This basically took Daniel's leads from very haphazard. He was having maybe 1 lead, 2 leads, 4 leads per week, and it took his lead volume anywhere between 10 to 15 every single week, and that was booking him around 3 to 5 calls off the back of this every time. And this is why this is so powerful, right? Because systems here are going to outweigh hustle and hard work so much more than anything else, right? If you have the right systems in place, if you have the right lead tracking systems, the right content in place, you're going to feel like you're working less but getting more of a result and more of an output through moving forward. So if you feel like you're working hard, if you feel like you're doing all of these things but you're not getting results, one really powerful thing you can look at is, do you have the systems in place right now to carry you and your business forward? If you haven't, that's a really powerful place to start. If you need help building these systems and moving that forward, as always, there's an opportunity to apply to work with us one-to-one. And this is me. You get my WhatsApp number, you get my access to me to jump on calls to grow. So it's very, very personalized. You get access to all those systems as well. So if you want to do that, there'll be an application page below. But anyway, the third phase we look at for Daniel as well, and for all our clients, is the offer vault. This is where this gets really exciting, because what we want to do is start qualifying people the right way and have the higher price points in mind from a coaching perspective, because this makes it so much easier to quite literally grow your coaching business. And this is one thing that I see a lot of coaches make when they start off. They're trying to charge like £97, £150 per month, which is okay, it's not bad, but it's so hard to build a 5k, 8k per month business, because you literally need so many people to come through to do it. And because fitness is a goal, where fitness is something that people come in, they want to lose X amount of weight, they stay for 6 months or 12 months, they're not going to stay in that program for the rest of their life. It's quite unrealistic, right? So what we want to do is actually have the price points position where people come in, you sell them either a 3-month, a 6-month or a 12-month program, and they're literally on there for that entire time frame. It's going to make it so much easier that you only need a few people per month to sell, and you're already at 5k, 6, 7, 8k per month in your coaching business. So this is why it's so powerful. For our clients, I'd recommend charging anywhere between $997 for a coaching program. As your confidence improves with sales, as you have more leads coming in, I'll drastically ramp up the price, but I'd certainly start around $997. So £1,000 for anywhere between a 3 to a 6 month program. As your confidence improves, you can ramp up the price from there as well. Once we did this, we had a really simple pre-call messaging sequence, which basically got rid of all the bad leads, and it meant that Daniel was only speaking to the right people that could actually afford the higher price points, and it made it so much easier for them to actually cycle in and have the right people that he's speaking in. Because at this point as well, what you've got to keep in mind is Daniel's averaging around 15 leads per week. It's physically impossible and unrealistic to be trying to book all of these people into calls. So we had a messaging sequence in place that qualified the right people in, that were ready to invest at the time. The lead tracker was also filtering the right people in and filtering out the bad ones, and it made it so much easier to grow that way around as well, because he was having, a few calls per week, anywhere between 3 to 5, but these calls were super qualified. It was much easier to actually close them into his coaching program with a closing rate and percentage of anywhere between 60 to 80% as well here. The next thing we looked at as well, which makes a massive difference from a sales perspective, is making sure you're using urgency and payment options, right? I wouldn't be sharing the payment options to everyone as an example, but a really simple thing anyone can do is just have the price point at the top. So have the $997, so coaching program $997 for 4 months worth of coaching. If they then say they can't afford it, or they thought it's more than they expected, you can then break it down into like 2 payment options or 3, and automatically you still get a person coming into the program, but you also have them mentally, and you have them sign a contract where they're in there for the next 4 months, right? This is so powerful as well. What we also want to look at from a content perspective is using urgency a lot in content to actually push people to book calls when we need to, and now it's getting more calls coming in as well, right? And then one thing he did, I think he touched on this in his interview with us as well. At one point, he even closed 5 high-paying clients inside 10 days. So there's so much there once you get these things to click and work as a system that you can literally grow to the moon if you wanted to, right? So it's so powerful. Like Daniel has a reasonable following. He has around 17,000 followers. But you don't need to have a huge following to implement this system and work here. You just need to follow the steps and grow your audience slowly, grow with the right people, and then use the next 2 phases to convert these people into high-paying clients. The last part of this phase, the last part of this system in this phase is phase 4. Phase 4 is the client multiplication system and phase, right? This phase gets super exciting because if you look at the phases right now, you work quite hard on the front end to create content, to speak to the right people, to move them into calls, to close them. Once you nail this final phase, you can quite literally get clients for no extra work. It's literally free money if you do it correctly, because if you do it right and you get people, when you get the new clients coming in, to refer more people into the program, and get that working really well. From every one client you get from social media, you can turn that one client into 2, 3, 4, even 5 clients sometimes by just tapping into their network and getting them to refer more people in early on. An easy way you can do this as well, I don't think it's in the notes, but an easy way you can do this is every time you have someone sign up, what we recommend with our clients is having this part of sales process where in the very first 3 to 5 days of the program, they have a sequence in place where they literally message their clients. They have an email come in or they message them on WhatsApp and they say, hey name, do you happen to know anyone that would also be interested in this program? You can get this as a free gift if you do. The reason this is insanely powerful is people typically have the highest motivation, the highest excitement for a fitness program at the very start. So if you get them caught in the right time when they're excited, when they're motivated, they're more likely to give you more leads and more people that you can message, right? So this is why this is so powerful. The next thing as well we want to look at is looking at leveraging the client results and the people you're speaking to and the people you're coaching into more content fuel, because this is going to mean more referrals and more clients down the line as well. This is such a game changer because the reality is rather simple. Most people that need a coaching program are not going to go to a coach that looks like they're sitting on their hands and doing absolutely nothing all day and filming content. So if we can actually have more content in place once this is working, where it's being demonstrated how good your client results are. So in Daniel's case, there's a lot before and afters. If you look at creating like client interviews, video testimonials, even something as simple as just recording calls you have with clients and just using the questions they ask you as content as well is so powerful, because it keeps you looking busy, and it's also going to be able, you're going to then be able to tap into your clients network to get more leads and clients off the back of it, and there's going to be a high mutual trust behind that as well, right? And next thing, which absolutely crushes right now, is storytelling around your current clients. Right, every time your client comes for the program, they get results, they move forward. What you want to do is use your Instagram stories and storytell this like crazy. Literally storytell how much progress your client's making from a fat loss perspective, confidence, mindset, relationships, whatever it might be, and then storytell around kind of what was the story, what was the client struggling with, what's he achieving now. What's he learned from that process? Like, what was the big lesson, and where do you want people to go next after watching this story or going through the text? Do you want them to message you? Do you want them to follow you, whatever it might be? Do you want them to reply to a poll? This crushes and can get your Instagram DMs flooded with leads, right? The next thing we did as well is, what you want to do with all your clients ideally is make sure you're collecting video testimonials and referrals. Video testimonials right now are quite literally easier than ever, because a simple thing you can do is just get an AI note taker on your calls, get your clients permission, of course, on this, and just ask them some questions about how they found a coaching program. What did they enjoy? What was their biggest win? What was they struggling before? Would they recommend a program to anyone else? If you ask them these questions on the call, you can then turn that into a short reel, and it's going to build so much know, like, and trust that you're coaching real people. It's so powerful. And like I touched on as well, referrals at the start, I would typically lean towards getting referrals at the very start of the program. For our clients, we have an email templated out. This automatically gets sent to anyone that signs up to a program because it's linked. The email gets people to refer people on. On average right now, that first email that clients get, that link here, gets an average of 47% of a reply rate, and that's the kind of referral numbers we get off the back of it as well. If you want to see what that email looks like within the first 3 to 5 days, to be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But if you want it word for word, if you just message me on Instagram, just say an email, I can send it to you completely for free as well. And then the last thing as well, which crushed as well, is just getting clients to screenshot Daniel, and then they will resharing their calls, they'll resharing their wins, they'll put out on their own story. Daniel could then re-share those stories as well. And the second thing it works really well for is it added tons of social proof and added tons of trust in the long run. That those few things absolutely crushed. And that basically meant that consistent referrals were coming in, and for all our clients, we're aiming to get per client coming in, we're aiming to get around a 17 to 23% of a referral from every client. So ideally 1 out of 4 clients should be referring someone on. What we want to do that is build out a coaching program to be super good, super achievable, like super like high motivation and high inspiration, especially at the very start. And that's going to make the referrals and the multiplication process hyper easy. What you might want to do before we finish this video off, and I have a real big golden gem to finish off of, but before we finish off, what I'd recommend doing, what you might want to do is just screenshot this potentially so you can work for it at your own time. I'll let you do that if you want. And the very last thing to finish off on is this, right? If you want to do what we did with Daniel, if you want to grow your coaching business, if you want to start it, build it, grow it, and add anywhere between £3,000 to £5,000 online to your business within the next 3 to 6 months, there will be an opportunity to apply below. If you are a good fit, we'll book a call, we'll sit down and audit your entire business together and see exactly what we need to do to grow it, right? The call's one-to-one with me, so yeah, if you want to book it, we'll literally break down and tear apart exactly where your business is at right now, which of those 4 phases we need to lean in heavy on first, because once we fix one phase, the next level unlocks and you can make so much more progress. If you want to do that and you want to apply to work one-to-one to bulletproof and grow your coaching business moving forward, the link to do that will be below. If you find this type of content useful from a case study perspective and you took a lot out of it, make sure to let me know so I can post more of this by liking the video, commenting, and subscribe, because there's tons more content just like this coming soon. Any other questions, anything you want to help with one-to-one, the link to do that will be down below.